Ready to master Blender's core tools. I'm Adam, a self-taught 3D generalist of 8 years in Blender. And this mini course shows you the exact workflows pros rely on. In this first lesson, you will learn the fundamentals of 3D modeling. Watch each lesson once, then build alongside me. Now let's dive into lesson 1. Okay, so we're gonna select scene, units, imperial, inches. Delete the default cube, mesh, plane. Scale it up, go into edit mode, extrude ZZ. Select our vertices, delete edges. Select our face, and we're going to give them some color. So then that way, when we add the edge loops, we don't have to select more faces. Be sure to assign the color to the face. Go into material mode, see that it's working well. Now we're going to add some edge loops. Control R, scale X, 2.9. Do the same for the Y axis and the Z axis. Select the top plate, cursor to select. I'm going to select the light and selection to cursor. I'm going to add a cube now. Bottom left corner, you'll see add cube, change it to 6 inches. Now select the magnet tool and select face. Sometimes you'll have to bring it up higher in order for it to stamp to the face of our floor and wall. Gonna do the same thing, add some edge loops on the X, Y, and Z axis. And this will give us a nice sharp edges while having some roundness to it. Blender does have a mode where you can crease the edges, but if you're exporting it to another program, this will be more convenient as not all file types will support Blender's edge crease. But I'll show you how to do that here. Get the End tab, select item, and then there's main crease. And now you have a creased cube, and that's the simplest way to do it if you're just doing it in Blender. It also can be more effective and efficient if you just add edge loops. Turn off the magnet tool, and we're going to duplicate our cube, make it into a rectangle. I'm going to have it lean against the cube. Turn snap tool back on. Now go into edit mode, wireframe, select the edge, cursor to selected. Now go to Object, Set Origin, Origin to 3D Cursor. Now we'll rotate it on the edge. Go back to Object Mode. Reset the cursor to World Origin. Duplicate another cube. Now we're going to be creating an arc with a cylinder in it. Now, since this is a still image, we're not animating it or moving the cylinder out. We're going to completely bypass that, because 3D modeling can take a very long time depending on the project. The more shortcuts that you can do, the better. And this won't affect quality. It'll actually increase render time because it's less complex. But I'll show you how to do that. But first, I'm going to show you how to make a cylinder the traditional way. Go into Edit Mode, select the top and bottom edges, and delete the face. Select them again, Extrude Scale, Shift Z. Then we're going to Grid Fill. Create edge loops for Z-axis 2.9. And go back into object mode, press Ctrl 2, and that'll create a subsurface modifier. Right click, shade smooth. Now, one of the fastest ways to create a cylinder in Blender is to use the loop tool add-on. So type in Blender loop tool, click on this, get add-on, download, save it to your destination, then in Blender, go to Edit, Preferences, Add-on, Install from Disk. Make sure the loop tool is selected, and save your preferences. Now select cursor to the top of the face, add a plane, scale it down, go into edit mode, and do an edge loop on each side. And select the middle, press N, go to edit, loop tool, circle. I'll select the outside, extrude scale, shift Z, and select all of it, and extrude Z. Make sure the magnet tool is off. Create 2 edge loops, scale Z 2.9. Rotate 90. Go into edit mode, section the cursor. On front view, scale it down. Make sure everything is shaded smoothly. Now, here's how to make the arc. Add-on tool, add-on. Select Boolean. Select the cylinder, Control A to apply. Now we're going to add edge loops and make sure that everything is well connected and that there's good topology. Reason why you want good topology is that you'll avoid mesh errors and stuff pinching, which you'll see later. Use the K tool to connect. Can use the axes X, Y, and Z to connect them, or freestyle. Typically, you want 4 vertices per face. Press GG and clean up merge by distance. Make sure that there aren't extra vertices and you'll get mesh errors. Make sure that there's a loop around the arc. I can add a subdivision surface. The more edges that you have will determine how of an arc that you have on your cylinder. Because with subdivision surface, it averages it out, so there'll be a bit of a gap. Surface, it averages it out, so there'll be a bit of a gap. Alright, we're gonna duplicate our cylinder, Shift D, and make it skinnier and taller. Rotate 90. Messed up a bit and added 2.9, so I end up fixing that. I'm going to select the top, cursor to selected, and add a cube, and we're going to make a sphere. Add a modifier, add bevel. Change segments to 16 and amount to 3. Go down to shading and select hard normals. There you have a perfect sphere. It's one of the fastest ways to do it. And since again this is a still image, we don't have to create a flat bottom. We can just bypass that, just create the sphere. Quick and easy. Now here's a traditional way of how to make a sphere. Add mesh sphere. Right, smooth. And you'll see that there's a bunch of pinching. That's because there's not good topology here. Oh, here's another way of how people typically make a sphere. Right, edge loops on all sides. go to Mesh, Transform to Sphere. Shade Smooth. No. We had Mint Cap. You can see how well of a sphere we've made. You can see that's not completely spherical. You can tweak this a bit and add more subdivision, but it's a big hassle. It's just easier to create it through the bevel modifier. Now, I'm gonna create a triangle. Mesh, cube. Make sure to bring up your cube more before you turn on the snap tool. Go into edit mode, select the edge, and dissolve edge. And we're going to add our loop. Oops. I'm going to want to do this first before we add a mirror modifier, so that we only have to do half of the work. But if you do the mirror modifier first and try to create the edge loop on the slant, it's not going to work. Go up to global and change that to normal. Now we can create a mirror modifier. Delete the vertices. Add modifier, mirror. Change it back to global. Now we're going to use our knife tool to connect the vertices. Control 3, shade smooth. Let's rotate this. Rotate Z. Now let's rename our objects and create a new collection. This is going to be important if you have a whole bunch of objects in your scene. Keep everything well organized. Create a new collection. Name it Building Blocks. sure that you bring all those building blocks into our new collection that we have made. Name this mesh wall. Now we're going to UV unwrap, which essentially is taking a paper cube and flatten it so that's a 2D image so that we can put textures on it. And depending on the quality of your textures, mark seam. You wanna make the edge loops not so noticeable, but that depends on the type of object that you're making as well. For a cylinder, make sure that the edge is going to be facing away from the camera so that you won't see it. I did make a small mistake on the sphere with the bevel, so I'll be fixing that. Now, since we didn't apply the modifier to the sphere, I can just mark the seams as a cube. Control A, apply rotation scale. So then when we UV unwrap, everything is scaled correctly. Right click, UV unwrap. I'm gonna drag top corner and change it to UV editor. Go up to UV, select Topography, average island scale. Sure to actually make a image first, then pack the islands. See that everything is the right size. Notice it's talking about with the sphere, change the amount to 3.002. If you're doing it in the metric system, then 1.001. Sure to apply all our modifiers. Now, if you want a realistic or stylized image, then just go to your Materials tab and apply the color that you want. Otherwise, if you want to have a 2D look and have line art, I'm going to show you how to do that now. Create default BSDF. And we are going to add shader. Add a color ramp. Change it to constant. Drag the white into the black. Add mix color. Add color into factor. Create emissions. Go into edit mode. Add texture, image texture. Duplicate the mix texture. Add the color into A, the result into the B. Color into B. And find the image texture provided. Go into render mode. Take the color. And I'm going to slightly change the color to more darker and change the color value. Now we have a 2D image shader. I want to just continue to make the same one, except make sure where the shield is that it's doesn't have a 2 or any other number, because otherwise it's just going to create the same one. Then when you change one, it's going to change the other. So make sure it's its own separate shader. And just repeat the process. You can see that I forgot to click the 2, so it's its own shader. we're going to create one for the wall. Now let's create some line art. Control A, grease pencil, stroke. Move the stroke out of view. Add modifier, line art. Change the source type to object. And select the object. Select material. Go with black first. Go into materials and we're going to create a new color. Create a little bit darker color. Select layer, color, select material. Change the thickness. And select our new color that we made. Be sure to name it properly. Now we're gonna create a new modifier, thickness. Go down to influence, custom, curve. Bring it down and then select the middle, bring it up. Now we're gonna have a good line flow of thickness. Be sure that you're in camera view, as the line art will only be visible of where the camera is pointing. Lines aren't appearing where you'd want some extra, go into edit mode, select the edges that you would like to see line art on. Control E, mark freestyle edge. Make sure that edge marks are selected. And material boundary. create the rest of the line art for all of them, you just go over your modifier, hit Shift D, and select the object. Change the object. Change the color. Repeat exactly what we did before. Don't need to duplicate the thickness, just the line art. Now, if the line art is overlapping in a certain way that you don't want, it's a simple fix of layering the different line art on top of the other. Now it is time to render. Position your camera where you want it. Get rid of the grid. Okay, now go into render. Make sure it's set to Eevee, unless if you have a more realistic image. Then cycles. Go down to output, PNG, set to your location. Then go to render, render image. Go to image, save as, and save it to your destination, and you are done. Good luck on your 3D modeling journey. Happy modeling.